friends, the show starts now. Welcome to the Weekly Roundtable, where the takes are hot and FOMO set to disable. Welcome to the Weekly Roundtable, where friends are made and we all drink that red maple. Break. Juan's got his eyes on the latest somehow. We being forex that make you go wild. Crypto crazy is a man on a mission like a Tesla. He most def got a vision. Weekly Roundtable, we got no cables predicting the future.
Guys, it is finally happening. Find out what that is. Stay tuned. Watch the remainder of the stream. We have that and all things crypto coming up. Before we get started, I'd like to thank you for joining the stream or watching the video, the recording later on. Also, don't forget that nothing on this video should be considered financial advice. It is strictly for entertainment and educational purposes only. Now, with that out of the way, let's get right to it. We have a busy show today, so I'd like to bring up the rest of the panel. Gentlemen, how are you? It's good to see you this week. How is everybody doing?
Great.
Very good.
Fired up.
Good to be back.
Love it. Okay, let's get right into it. Like I said, because we have a lot to cover. We have a lot of big news, and we want to make sure that everyone, finds out what they are here to find out. Okay, we're going to first go to the Bitcoin chart. I'll bring this up right away. So Bitcoin currently is at 96,629. And as you can see, it has been ranging in this area for several days now, going on 2 weeks, actually. I'm going to bring up my arrow so you guys can see. So once we broke the 200 DMA, it has just gone sideways, and we've been in this area for almost 2 weeks around this 96.5, 96.6 region. We'll get the panel's opinion on exactly what could be going on in a few minutes. But not terrible. We're still, kind of ranging in between this buy zone and sell zone, like we have been since all the way back here in December. So that's the Bitcoin chart. I'm going to show the USDT dominance as well. We did break above the previous resistance that we had here, and it has now acted as support. It came back down. It's supporting on that zone, which is not the greatest news. We do want to see the USDT dominance come down, which means the market is in the the money is actually in the market and not sitting on the sidelines in stables. So that's not exactly great. Bitcoin dominance, as you can see, we formed this W pattern perfectly as predicted. We did have this big wick up during that crazy capitulation we had a week and a bit ago. We have come down, and we've actually broken below that trend line again. So hopefully that acts as resistance, and we do follow this pattern. We head back down. We want Bitcoin dominance to go down, obviously, because when Bitcoin dominance is high, like it is, that means the majority of the money in the market is in Bitcoin, and we want to see that dominance go down so that the money flows into altcoins, because we are desperately waiting for an altcoin season. Hopefully that comes sooner rather than later. And then the others chart, which is the all the crypto minus Bitcoin and Ethereum, or is excluding the top 10, sorry. So it's all the other altcoins in the market. We did break through the floor here and rejected. This is also not great to see, but we are kind of maybe hitting a bottom and on the way back up. So we can get this back up into this channel. I will go out to the weekly. It really paints a picture of exactly what it is we're looking at here. So this is kind of the pattern that it's been in for a little while. I've got zones here that I've marked out that are going to be kind of my take profit zones. Mind you, I made them when we were near the top of this channel. Myself and many others thought we were actually going to break out. Altcoins were doing great, and then all of a sudden, things took a turn for worse. Bitcoin dominance went up, and then the altcoins started to bleed. So now we've broken out of this channel to the downside. I'm hoping it's just a fake out, and it comes back into this channel, and we head to the upside, and that altcoin season does in fact come. But we'll have to wait and see. So that's the Bitcoin chart. We will come back. I'm sure Juan has a bit of information we can talk about gold, but we'll get back to that in a few minutes. I also want to show the ETF inflows here, or in this case, I should say outflows. We've had 3 straight days of outflows. Today's hasn't been posted yet, but not huge amounts. 251 million 2 days ago. 3 days ago, it was a very small amount, 56 million. And day before that, 186 million. So very small outflows, but outflows nonetheless. You'd rather see, obviously, inflows. Taking a look, IBIT has had outflows of 586. Fidelity actually has actually had inflows of 215,000. And that Grayscale, of course, the bleeding all the time, 200,000 outflow there. So the outflows aren't looking great, but they're not terrible. I mean, we haven't had any major sells. So, we'll just keep our eye on that. Next, we'll go to the rainbow chart. We're still in the HODL zone. We've been in this HODL zone for a little while. And, status quo there. Again, this sideways is not a bad thing. It's actually pretty positive. Gives you a chance to get into the market, especially with altcoins, how they're down quite a bit right now. But once we do start moving up into the, FOMO, et cetera, we will be following our top signal indicators to make sure that we are nowhere near the top. And speaking of cycle top indicators, give this a refresh. It's probably gone down. Yep, we are down to a 72. As you can see, again, lots of room before we are anywhere near the top of this cycle, according to all of the major cycle top indicators, which are indicated up here. Let's hope that this does follow previous cycle patterns, and it kind of gives us an idea of when we hit the top. And we'll follow this each and every week as well. So that is the charts quickly. Gentlemen, I do want to bring it back to Bitcoin and then, see what your guys' opinion are. And then Juan will get an update on gold as well while we're at it. So I'll go around the horn. I'll start with you, Juan. Your thoughts on Bitcoin, and what do you think is going on right now? Do you think we're in a pretty good position? Do you think we're accumulating, or do you think this could be the beginning of not such a great time?
No, still bullish on Bitcoin. It's holding up very well into that near 100K range. We kind of talked about it ranging for a while. I still think that February tends to be a very bullish month. Of course, with all the uncertainty around in America, especially with whatever is going on economically, I think that's really kind of holding investors back because they want to have a little bit more clarity, right? Am I going to have extra money? Do I have to pay taxes this year? I mean, all that, is still kind of still being decided. And I think once we got clarity on there, you're going to start seeing that, decisions being made. And not to mention, I think that Bitcoin probably also had a little competition the last few days from Ethereum. The inflows from Ethereum have been very high. So that could be more speculation for something else coming on the horizon. So that's good news as well. And then, of course, where's that money going? Because there are consistent buys and sells. So I also see that probably outflowing to other areas of crypto or even Forex, right? Because you always see that happening. So I think that right now, I think it's still a great time to kind of be putting your pulse, finger on the pulse, and kind of understanding where Bitcoin might head to. Draw yourself some nice lines. Like here, we got great resistance lines. We got some good support lines, and whatever it breaks, be ready for action. Because either way, I think it's still good news for Bitcoin.
I agree. And you mentioned Ethereum before I move on to Terry. Before the Bitcoin had that little bit of a dump here, and we had that major capitulation wick a week and a bit ago, Ethereum was actually showing strength. And to see us come out of this and Ethereum continuing, and like you said, the ETF inflows are outpacing Bitcoin, that's a really bullish sign. So we'll have to follow that and see what happens. Hopefully Ethereum can kind of lead the charge and we do get that altcoin season that we've been waiting for. Terry,
Yes,
your thoughts on Bitcoin?
Yeah, well, we're pretty much in the same place we were last week, right? I mean, the price is up and down, but yeah, so we've pretty much gone sideways. I do see a little bit of potential here for a diamond pattern, which would be a reversal pattern. And that would kind of play into the fact that I see the SRSI here down, rising back up from oversold. So I do expect this to come up. I think we talked a little bit too about this upper trend line maybe being a little sticky last week. And I think we've seen that. I think it may drift a little bit lower here, maybe fill in a little towards the 786 down there, that 94.3 level. But I think what we are going to see is a curl back up. And we just haven't seen much of the bounce. Juan and I both mentioned it last week that the height of the bounce or the strength of the bounce is going to tell us a lot about what happens afterwards. I do kind of expect to see try towards back towards the highs and possibly continuation on up to like $125,000 before a more significant retracement, probably back down to like 85 or so.
Yeah, I've been hearing that a lot. I'm
over
sorry,
the
I was going
course.
to say, Terry, one bullish sign as well is from the 13th of January, that wick that we had back then. We have made, even though we did capitulate a week and a bit ago, we've made higher lows, which is nice to see as well.
Yep, good stuff.
Cruiser, your thoughts?
Well, I'm over it. I'm over the dips and the lows, and it's time we need to go the other way. And I'm not much of a TA guy, so I'm not going to go the way of the charts. I'm just not that good at it. But I want to say I'm bullish on it, but at the same time, I was reading earlier today that whale addresses, Bitcoin holders, are at a 12-month low. So does that spell trouble? I don't know. But just some personal feelings there that I'm over the dip and it's time to go get the bull market back on track, I guess. When I do look at the charts, sure, I'm a little bullish on what could happen over the next little while, but there are also bearish signs that I don't know if it's got me concerned, but I'm over it. That's my saying today. I'm over it.
You're not the only one. I mean, Juan and I were talking a couple of days ago, and we were looking at the the stats and stuff on YouTube, and Rumble was the other one. But all the searches for crypto and Bitcoin specifically are way down. I mean, the interest is just kind of dying and dead. And this is exactly what the market makers and the whales and the the elite is exactly what they want. They want the excitement to be blah, almost nothing, and then next thing you know, the market explodes. So I'm kind of hoping and bullish on the fact that Bitcoin's holding steady, and anytime there is a capitulation or a sell-off, it's bought up really, really quick. So Bitcoin's showing a lot of strength, and I'm hoping that that will continue. Of course, that being said, I also want liquidity to flow into the altcoins, because like most people in this market, most retail anyway, people are altcoin heavy. I would say probably 70-30 for the most part. Whales, obviously, Bitcoin heavy, institutions, Bitcoin heavy, but a lot of the retail, they're altcoin heavy. So they don't really care what Bitcoin is doing to a point. I mean, obviously, if Bitcoin does well, altcoins do well in earnest. And I think they're more concerned about their altcoin bags, as many of us are.
And
So,
go ahead. That was my thought. When I saw that Bitcoin whale addresses were at a 12-month low, my first thought was, where's all that money? Why aren't altcoins pumping? Like, why are they at an all-time low? And I thought, well, maybe that's why, they're just waiting for a little bit more of a dip, and we'll see those addresses come back. Who knows? Whatever's going to happen, it needs to happen.
That's funny though. It's kind of a self-fulfilling prophecy. If everyone is waiting for strength in the market, or for their favorite altcoins to start showing signs of life before they buy, well, if everyone's doing the same thing, they're never going to show a sign of life, and no one's ever going to buy. But we do need some kind of a catalyst, something to get us going. And like today, for example, some of the unemployment numbers and stuff were announced, and it didn't really move the market. I mean, we had a bit of movement, but we're right back where we were. So we need something tangible, something that's really going to get the market excited. And I myself, I'm not really sure what that could be. I'm not sure if you guys have any any opinions or any insight as to what that could possibly be. Juan, what about you?
What I'm hearing a lot though is basic companies thinking about Bitcoin as a reserve for their own treasuries, and for their own company investments. I saw GameStop being one of those companies thinking about investing some of their funds into Bitcoin, right? I heard again, MicroStrategies, which is now called Strategy, getting ready for maybe a third round of Bitcoin purchasing, right? So there's a lot of stuff going on there that's, I guess, being talked in the background, and either they're waiting for the price to dip a little further down so they can make it worth it, or waiting to see that next spark plug. And that could be anything right now. I truly think that right now the uncertainty around the economic policies right now and where it might lead to is kind of making the market a little nervous. And I think that once that's cleared out and we have a clearer direction, people are going to start making moves with their cash. Right now, if you look at, not to bring it up early, but you look at gold exploded to 29.42, all-time high. So I think that the people who are investing are still investing, but we both know that the alternate store of value when it comes to Bitcoin is gold. And I think that's where everybody's kind of just holding on to right now. And then you're going to see gold take a plunge, and you're going to see everything else kind of pump up in the rest of the markets as people feel more confident in the other areas.
And the other thing that could help with that as well is I think the report was released earlier today. It might have been late yesterday. That 20 states have introduced bills to create their own state reserves in Bitcoin. I think the number was something like $23 billion worth of Bitcoin would be needed. That could certainly help kickstart things if even if just a handful of those states pass the bills rather quickly, then that could spell very good news.
Yeah, we kind of pointed that out on our Monday video that it's basically a race. It's a race for states to kind of beat the Fed to get as much Bitcoin as they possibly can. So they're getting their bills passed, expediting them through, which is really good. So yeah, Juan, here's the gold chart. It's doing very well, currently at 29.28, very, very close to an all-time high, which it reached 3 days ago.
Yeah, gold is pumping. And I kind of, we talked about it at the beginning of the year, that gold is what you'll want to kind of keep your eye on. And as it heads toward 3,000, I think 3,000 is probably going to be the mark where it has to make a decision. Is it going to continue to go up, or is it probably going to just level off and kind of range between 30, 31 and 29 and kind of hover there? I just don't see it benefiting going any higher, at least not now. But again, right, anything can start that. Another war, any economic issues and any everywhere else. So those things can be catalysts for gold as people put their money in the stores as a store for value in there. And as you see, gold just continues to climb up, and I think it's going to probably end up around 3,000, if not the end of this month, but definitely going into next month. So that's going to be exciting for all of us to kind of, who loves Forex and kind of understands how the market kind of uses gold as an imbalance between other areas, whether it's stocks, whether it's Forex, whether it's other cryptos. So this is really exciting to see that even though people are kind of looking at the market and may see non-consumer confidence, and then you see gold is like, yo, what's going on there? So for me, I think those who understand the game are kind of watching what gold is going to do next to plan their next move. And I'm not talking about for gold, but I'm talking more about Forex, and talking more, Forex, talking about the crypto and even the big time stocks. So again, use this as informational purposes. Keep your eye on gold, see what the next moves are. And if you see any, $50, $100 dips, money has been moved, or where's it going? So it's exciting times. I can't wait to hit 3,000.
Now, my only concern, I'm not sure if you're concerned about it, but you see down here, the stochastic RSI, we've been up in this upper range for quite some time now, in the mid to high 80s. And it doesn't seem to be cooling off at all as the price continues to go up. So does that concern you at all? Or do you think right now it's in such a bullish trend that, the correction is not going to come till later?
Well, like I told you before, the fact that it's in such a strong trend, it's purposely done, right? They want that money in there. They want it. They want to kind of show that strength so people can buy in now, and like I always tell you guys, we don't buy green candles, right? We buy red ones, and then you're going to see that reversal. And I think it's a planned reversal, and that's where you got to pay attention. At the end of the day, though, no, it doesn't concern me. I already kind of announced that you're going to see this reversal. It's going to happen. But right now, they just want to show the hype and gold so people can put their money in there and they get wiped, right? Be their liquidity. But at the end of the day, that's why you tune into the channel like this to kind of give you the heads up of what's happening so that you can avoid being the liquidity and start collecting your own.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. Okay, that's enough for the traditional charts. Terry, before we move on to the headlines and news, I did want to ask you: is there anything you have your eye on in the meme coin space? I know you've been following that very closely. Most of the alts and especially meme coins have been hit pretty hard. But is there anything out there you're kind of keeping your eye on?
Yeah, always. And a lot of the new ones, right? So I guess Jailhouse is kind of the last one. The problem we have, and this is sort of a market-wide problem, is that there was just a series of serial launches of meme coins, right, that drained the market, right? Trump, Melania, and Vine were the first three. The last one was Jailstool. I don't recall the ones in the middle right now. Trump got 100 million, the project, the coin, got 100 million in fees. Right. This is all stuff that's just a giant liquidity drain on crypto in general. So I think what it's going to take is time for the liquidity to just sort of seep back in.
Mm-hmm. Now, I was watching a fellow YouTuber. We've had her on the show before, Jenna X. She had a Spaces last night. I'm not sure if you guys heard this, but after Trump coin launched, when it first began to sell off, they were running low on liquidity, and they actually had to get a loan from Mike Novogratz. I'm sure a lot of people know Novogratz from, where is he from? Something digital. It's escaped me right now, but he's got a fund, traded fund. He's been in the crypto space for a long, long time. They actually had to get a loan from him in order to cover liquidity, make sure that that whole thing didn't go belly up, which I found rather interesting. I don't know if there's going to be any repercussions, any investigation to it or anything like that, but it's a whole mess behind the scenes that not a lot of people are aware of. So I found that rather interesting.
Yeah, I wasn't really brushing on that. I just looking at the simple dynamics of liquidity in the space.
Yeah. Well, you reminded me, so I had to bring it up.
There you go. The other thing I do want to say is I agree that I don't think we're near this cycle top. I think we have another run back up.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's the consensus of most people that have been in the space for a long time, because for the market to end now the way it did, it goes against every single cycle previous. It goes against everything that we all know about crypto cycles, and it wouldn't make any sense. So I agree. I think we are certainly going to be having the next leg up. We are just simply in another consolidation area. We know for a fact that the markets are being manipulated. Each time Bitcoin looks like it wanted to go on kind of a run and altcoins started to move, something happened. Whether it was for example, the sell-off for Binance. That's a little bit annoying as well, because when Binance did that sell-off the other day, I was looking at the charts, and a lot of altcoins started to bleed, but yet BNB and the Cake token from the Binance chain, they were pumping like crazy. It made absolutely no sense to me. They were selling off, but yet their own tokens, plural, were pumping. And I'm not really sure the dynamics behind that. I don't know if you guys understand how that may have worked. Did you guys see what I was seeing there?
I wasn't monitoring it. I'm sorry.
Okay. Yeah, no worries. And I don't mean just a little bit. Like when, for example, Solana, which is one of the strongest tokens of this cycle, was down 6%. Meanwhile, BNB was up 15%, and the Cake token was up over 35%. It made no sense to me. And then I dug a little bit deeper, and then I found out that it had a little bit to do because of their sell-off of their holdings to pay that fine, and then of course the whole winter mute sell-off and the whole market manipulation. All things that we should be used to by now, but are still very, very frustrating, because every time it looks like the market's going to do something happens to bring it right back down. So that is clear manipulation. But that goes to our point that the cycle is not over, because they are obviously keeping it down for a reason, to prepare to accumulate whatever that purpose is. And they eventually will have to let it go. They'll have to let it run. Juan, did you want to add something before I move on?
No, I totally agree with you guys, especially when we're talking about how the market's always being manipulated. That's why it's so important for us to be a contributing force into the market, so we can upset the balance a little bit. But when you look at the overall market, especially when it comes to Binance, and of course it's going to be up. It just paid off its bills. I mean, that's great news for Binance, right? I mean, let's just be honest. But for the rest of the market, you're like, you screwed everybody else in order to get yourself out. So that's not something that is unexpected. We all kind of knew something like that was going to happen. But at the end of the day, now that it's over, what does next steps look like? And right now, when you look at stuff like Bitcoin, BNB, Solana, it's kind of now in this accumulation phase. And then it'll get into what I always like to call decision time. And then it's either going to go up or down. And you just got to be ready for it. And it can happen at 3 o'clock in the morning, or it can happen during, New York Open. It's just, you just never know. All you have to be is ready for it.
Yep, could happen anytime. Okay, let's move on to the news real quick, and then we'll get to our main topic of the stream. So, as many know, there's been a lot of changes, a lot of promises made by the current admin in the U.S. But one thing that was promised was going to be audited, and apparently the Doge auditors have made their way to the IRS, and they are beginning that audit. So it'd be interesting to see what comes out of that. That was one little tidbit of news. Coinbase, they report a $2.3 billion in revenue for Q4, and that was up 23% higher than expectations, which completely makes sense because they have the base chain, and that did really, really well, not just with memes, but with Aerodrome and Defi. So that chain did really, really well. So Coinbase overall did well last quarter, or the last quarter of last year. And then Coinbase also announced that Coinbase derivatives are going to be launching a Solana futures, which is super exciting. A lot of rumors about Solana ETF, XRP ETFs, and a few others. So this is something that is a sure thing that Coinbase derivatives is actually going to launch a futures for Solana, which is great to hear. And the last one, the SEC acknowledges Grayscale's 19B-4 filing for a spot Dogecoin ETF. So, the ETF news are coming fast and furious, all sides, all different coins, which is amazing to see. I'm not sure if you guys have heard anything else that I may have missed when it comes to the ETFs or anything. Do you guys have any opinions on that?
I think we're still waiting for XRP and what's happening there as far as their ETFs, right? I don't think I haven't heard anything there. I think everybody's still waiting on the decision from the SEC on whether or not they're going to continue to pursue Ripple. I think that's really over, though. I think the new administration has already kind of signaled they want to be pro crypto. So I don't see that continuing. That's just an opinion that I haven't heard anything personally myself. And then I think we also have I think that's unless Solana's ETF, and that's really the only thing that I've heard that might be on the horizon. But other than that, nothing new.
Okay. Yeah, those are the main ones that I've been hearing as well. Actually, I lie. I did hear that they're talk about a Cardano ADA ETF as well, which that kind of came out of left field. I don't see how that can be a thing. But yeah, Solana for sure. XRP is another one. And then I've also heard Solana, XRP, and HBAR. But again, Solana and XRP are the two main ones that I've heard. Okay, so now on to the main news, the main topic that I want to talk about today. Pi token, from the Pi network, is actually finally going to be live on mainnet come February 20th. It's been a long time coming. I mean, the Pi ecosystem has been around for 6 years. Juan, you and I were talking about it before the stream. I've been in it since the beginning. Crypto Cruiser's been in it since pretty much the beginning. Basically, I'm going to bring up the website. I lost my thing at the back. There we go. Okay. Basically, what Pi is, it's a closed network, or sorry, I should say blockchain, which has been, I don't want to say it's been private, but it's been internal for many years now. And I'll just scroll down. Hold on, guys. There we go. Has a kind of a date here. Okay, so they had a beta phase from 2019 to 2021. Users could mine Pi, but external transactions were restricted. And then they had the different phases here. We had the testnet phase, 21 to 23. the mainnet phase 23, and then of course the mainnet launch, which is going to be February 20th, 2025. For those that don't really understand Pi, think of it as its own ecosystem. You were able to use Pi tokens. Pi actually has over 100 apps, dApps, whatever, merchants, etc., ready to launch on launch day as well, which will be accepting Pi, and they have been already. They had merchants, for T-shirts and mugs and all kinds of things that you could purchase using Pi. You could trade Pi back and forth. They even had a Pi IOU on CoinMarketCap and a few others. Now, what's interesting about Pi is that it's basically a proof of work, but they were able to come up with technology so you could mine from your phone. And I know people are probably thinking, that's just another tap on your phone thing that we've all seen on Telegram lately. But no, this is completely different. This is actually mining. But they were able to do it with just the compute power of your cell phone. Or you could do a node on the computer as well, over and above. But the stronger your circle, which is people that you refer into your friends' inner circle, the more Pi you earned. And what's neat about that is, well, some people are calling it kind of like a pyramid scheme, but it's not, because each individual person mines their own. You all get the bonus. And then now that it's going live on the 25th, you can actually trade those tokens on exchanges. Exchanges that have been already confirmed are BitGet, OKX, BitTrue, and MEXC so far. And interesting, we were talking about Binance a few minutes ago. Pi core team, they have a thing called KYB, which is Know Your Business. Any exchange that wants to list the Pi token, they have to pass this KYB, much like, we have to do a KYC when we enter an exchange and want to withdraw and make transactions. And I'm not sure exactly what the requirements are, but interestingly enough, Binance, especially with all the shady stuff they've been doing lately, they were actually denied the ability to launch Pi token and to be able to use it on trading on the Binance exchange, which is, if you love Binance, it's a crappy thing. If you are kind of annoyed at Binance, the way they've been conducting business, you're a little bit happy about that. So the neat thing about Pi is they're not trying to go to different exchanges to be launched or to be listed. Exchanges are actually coming to them, and they have to pass this KYB, which is very, very interesting. You don't see that a lot from an ecosystem. But going back to Pi, what is Pi? It's a cryptocurrency project. It started in 2019 with the goal of making crypto mining accessible to everyday people. Unlike Bitcoin, which requires energy-intensive mining hardware, Pi allows users to mine coins directly from their smartphones with minimal power consumption. The project operates on its own blockchain and utilizes a trust-based system to validate transactions instead of traditional mining. Users join security circles, as I had mentioned, where they verify each other's legitimacy to prevent fraud. This approach is meant to create a decentralized network without the need for massive computational power. I have also been a validator on Pi for about a year and a half now. And so when they were doing their KYC on all of the miners, pioneers is what they call them, there are over 17 million, I believe, in total, 10 million active pioneers mining daily with this app. And everyone needed to KYC. So that took a little bit of time. Obviously, regulatory scrutiny, with the previous admin, SEC chairs, et cetera, they pushed the launch date until they felt that the market was safe and that, they didn't have to worry about regulation. They are regulated, but the way the previous chair did things, even if you came to them and wanted to adhere to the guidelines and, regulate your platform, they still would say, oh, we're going to sue you. So they waited a little bit longer. Now they feel it's safe, but everything is legit. There's a ton of people that I know that have been doing it. They never thought this day would come. I'm not even going to speculate on price because, I know the fully diluted market cap is going to be around 6 billion. Juan, you and I off stream, we're kind of having a conversation on where the liquidity was going to come from. And, we kind of threw ideas back and forth. That hasn't been announced. I mean, they do ads on the mining app. They have been for years every time you click the button, and they have other revenue streams, but I'm not sure where that valuation comes from. But as for price, I don't know. I've heard everything from 20 cents all the way up to $3.14, which everyone knows that Pi 3.14. That remains to be seen. I'm not even sure what the opening price will be. I guess we won't find that out until closer to mainnet launch. But it's certainly exciting. I mean, this has been a long time coming. They've been active for 6 years. The Pi Core team, they've had hackathons, they've had Pi Day, they're very, very active. Always things going on. They've perfected their app, the browser, the website. Everything is really, really nice. And all we got to wait for now is launch, which I for one am excited to see that. I'll just go over this quick before I pass it over to the panel for conversation. How Pi works, unlike Bitcoin, which requires heavy-duty mining equipment, Pi network allows users to mine coins simply by opening the app once a day. This process doesn't drain the battery life or require constant internet connection, which is kind of cool. Like I said, they have their own network. Security and consensus mechanism. Pi network is built on the Stellar Consensus Protocol, SCP, which relies on a trust-based verification system. Instead of solving complex mathematical problems, users form security circles where they confirm that each other's members are real people, which is a great way to secure the network. This helps prevent fraud and ensures that the network remains decentralized. And then, of course, I mentioned the KYC verification. And then, as I mentioned, pyramid scheme, here's some concerns about it. This is obviously not up to date, no concern listing, but February 2025 is the actual listing day. Short-term price prediction, Q1, Q2. Now, I'm not sure where they get their prices on here. This is saying that it could be anywhere from 100 to 150 in the first few weeks. However, drop back to $50 to $80. If that is indeed the case, that Pi is going to be worth $50 per Pi, I am going to retire. Like literally, I have mined thousands of Pi over my time. Juan, I'm not sure how many you have. I'm sure you're up there as well. But that just seems kind of unrealistic to me. I'm thinking maybe 20, 25 cents would be something more realistic, but we'll have to wait and see exactly what happens there. This is the BitGet website, so obviously they mentioned that it's going live on BitGet.
Can I jump in for a second here?
Yeah, go ahead.
I don't know if you know this, but even though trading is restricted, Coinbase has had Pi listed since 2022. And based on internal information and valuation and that sort of thing, it's been listed on Coinbase as high as $400 back in 22. Of course, that was all hype, but currently it's $87, and they are
87 Canadian.
Sorry.
That is what they call IOU. Juan will kind of explain that a little bit more, but that's based on an IOU. It's a speculative price. It's not actual price. And it's not that you could,
I agree.
Yeah, it could be traded on the app, but it couldn't be swapped for USDC and withdrawn from the exchange. That's the only thing. It was strictly speculative. Juan, did you want to touch on more about the whole IOU part of it?
Right. So there are such things as IOU Pi coin trading. So you can see it. You might see Pi coins being offered on platforms, but they're just again not actual Pi coins. They're just a way to kind of create speculation on a real world. Well, not real world, but on a crypto asset that might launch soon. Right. And for those who've been following Pi for years, Pi has gone through many launch days. And obviously never kind of wasn't unable to meet those launch days because whether it's regulation or setbacks or whatever the case may be. So this was their way to kind of measure what speculation is. I mean, why it could launch at. But when you kind of just take a holistic view of what market cap is and how many coins are in circulation or minted, I mean, for it to be realistically 400, no. Right? I mean, you're looking at a huge market cap right there.
Right. It's basically the way you can think about it is a lot of exchanges have paper trading for leverage trading. So you can think of this type of thing as paper trading for spot trading, more or less.
Right. It's just it's like a placeholder.
Yeah. Now, one thing that may or may not, well, I'm sure it will affect this price. Pi currently reports that only 5 million of the addresses that hold Pi have been active in the past year.
Oh, is it 5 million? Okay.
5 million. So out of like I think what was it, 50 million registered users. I forget the exact number of.
It was 17 million active, 10 million, 17 million KYC, 10 million were active, and I guess as you
Right.
said in the last year, 5 million that have
You
actually
know, with
mined.
5 million active addresses, there are 20 million registered addresses. So
Right.
if 15 million addresses have tokens that aren't active, will that affect the price at all? I don't know.
It depends on how they want to deal with not the inactives. So I think the inactives are different from the people who didn't KYC, right? If you
Yes.
didn't KYC, I think they kind of said that you forfeited your
Those Pi coins are
the whole,
lost.
right. But once you KYC'd, you don't necessarily need to be active. They're yours. So I think that's where the line is being drawn. And it makes sense, right? I mean, just because you wasn't active doesn't mean you're not liable for those coins anymore. It's kind of like what happens with Bitcoin, right? Those people who mined it, 30 years ago or whenever it launched, and then kind of just never touched it again. They're still coins, right? And if you ever got the code to it and had access to your PC, and you can use them. But in this case, the same thing. Just because it wasn't active doesn't mean they're not yours. They're not minted. I think the only ones who are going to be lost are the ones who didn't KYC.
Now, even for those that did KYC, I remember doing the KYC myself and having to actually transfer my Pi to my active wallet. If those people that KYC didn't transfer their tokens, would they still be considered in circulation once it goes live?
I don't think I haven't seen anything saying that if you didn't transfer them, they would be forfeited.
Oh, okay.
So, right. So those are the things that you got to look at, right? It just means that they're correct. They're kind of in, I guess, let's say cold storage. And until you go in and get them out yourself, consider them, not there.
Technically still in circulation.
Correct, because they were minted. So no, that always takes away anything that's minted is always going to take from the market cap until they officially burn the tokens, right? And the only ones that I know that are being burned are the non-KYC.
Right, and there's a lot of them. Yeah,
it's a lot. Yeah. So that'll definitely play a role in, I guess, pricing. But that's exciting to hear, right? I mean, you snooze, you lose. But at the same time, my concern is where the money's coming from, right? So ad revenue can't pay for everything, right? I mean, no one bought coins. They didn't like somebody to say, "Hey, I'm gonna take $100 and buy myself some Pi." At least not now, right? And no one's gonna be crazy enough to buy it on launch day because everybody's gonna be selling. I don't see nobody going in and say, "Hey, let me buy on launch day." Price is gonna, pump. But ad revenue could support a lot of this. I can see that. I just don't see how it's going to, between overhead and everything else. We can, I'm kind of aligned with what Crypto Crazy is saying. We can probably be in that 20 cents to 80 cents range, maybe $1, maybe. But again, right, it just depends on how smart they were with their money. Right. And how they utilized it. And, it ain't like they gave us a treasury report. So we just really don't know. So those are the things that you got to look at. Of course, I'm not, not to scare anybody, but just to be fully transparent, beware of scams. Right.
Yeah.
Pi is launching. Some people had the app. Some people didn't have the app. And some people maybe didn't KYC. If you missed your KYC, as of right now, I don't see a pathway for those who didn't KYC to get those coins back that they minted. So don't go into, hey, if you had, come KYC now and then submit your personal documents to try to don't do it. You're probably going to be scammed until you get official word from Pi saying they're going to reopen it. I would not. I would not be submitting anything personal there. So, just speaking about scams in general, there hasn't been an uptick in 2025 in phishing scam emails. Again, verified, double check. I think up 27% this year alone, and just the first 2 months. So just be careful out there, guys, with your emails. They are phishing out there. Don't be its prey. And of course, if you ever need help, we're here to help. Or please comment.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, there have been a lot. I've gotten a few myself, and it just makes me chuckle. And the sad part is, they do look very, very real. If I was new to the space like I was, years back, though, they are so legit looking that I probably would have fell for it. And as a matter of fact, I did fall for one or two back in the day. So yeah, be very, very careful. Do not click on links that you are not aware of, you're not sure of, and especially on platforms that that you are involved in, but you haven't made any requests or anything. Just do not click on links. It's better to be safe than sorry. I just on my my Pi app here, and we're talking about Pi coins being lost. There are 14 days remaining for any members who haven't KYC'd before that balance can be transferred to be migrated to mainnet, to your wallet. And I'm thinking that once that timer counts down to 0, those tokens, those Pi tokens, could be lost. So it could be taken away from the actual overall circulating supply.
And there's a lot of them that haven't KYC'd.
Yeah, it's a whole bunch. So
that really, the 20th
well.
could be an aha moment for Pi, or it could be a bust, right?
Yeah. Well, if a lot of people, like Terry, you had mentioned before, earlier before the stream, that you were mining Pi at one time, and then you just kind of gave up. And I'm sure there's a lot of people in the same boat. So I can imagine there's quite a few tokens that are going to be burned out of supply if they don't KYC and get them migrated. So that will affect price. Actually, obviously the way price is determined is circulating supply, market cap, et cetera, et cetera. So we'll have to see how that all plays out. There could be a lot of tokens that are lost on migration day.
I'm sure there will be. Yeah, no clue what the price is going to be at all.
No. It's complete speculation.
We have no numbers to go off of, right? It ain't like Pi has, the Pi network team has never shared any type of hash numbers, inflows, anything like that. How much ad revenue they're generating, how much they're paying for nodes, right? Because remember, a lot of us became node members to help with the KYC process. That's not free, right? That's something that they put in place. So all that is overhead. So listen, they can be secretly, sitting on, $2, $3, $4 billion. They could be, right? I mean, Crazy was telling me earlier that, and it made sense, right? At one point, 20 million ads per day. I mean, I'm guaranteed, right? If you want to be part of the process, you had to click that button. So at any given time, you're clicking, 20 million people clicked in one day. So I don't know how much money that can generate for ad revenue. So, I mean, they could be. I doubt it, but they could be. So it's exciting. It's exciting. Lots of speculation. But even if any of you guys who have clicked on it once, and that's just free money that you never had before, right? So you can either gamble it away into the meme market, speak to Terry, or go into the gold market, speak to Juan. Go to crypto. You got Crazy right there. Cruiser is in hands with everything else. So at the end of the day, right, you guys have the ability now to take this money, whether it's $10 or $100, right? It's more than what you had before. And to me, it's a win. However you spend it, it's a win. It's the barrier of entry was ridiculous. It was ridiculously easy. There was no excuses. So congrats to those who was able to build an empire of Pi coins, because regardless, it's just free income.
Yep. Gotta love free money.
And
I do.
Just a final thought on that. I'm just reading here that there are 3 main investors that have been funding the Pi project. I haven't heard of any of them. One called Designer Fund, one called 137 Ventures, and another called Yulu Ventures are their main investors. So never heard of any of them, but that's where the money's coming from.
Well, at least they have backers and investors, so that's a good sign. They've been around this long.
We don't know. Yeah, but we don't know how that's broken up looks like, right?
Right.
Are they,
Yeah.
what
No
proportions
Yeah.
or percentages, right? So, like I said, they never kind of really go into the details of the money yet. So I'm hoping that launch day will have a little bit more clarity and what the expectations are going forward. The good news is you shouldn't see huge sell-offs, right? Because as you remember, anybody who kind of signed up to Pi, they had to make decisions on how those how they're going to be selling and what amounts and at what portions per year. So you had to make a decision early. So you shouldn't see anything crazy. However, right? Some people like myself have 3 wallets, and and each one with different rules. So those are things that you got to kind of do to play the game right. Because you don't know what the price is going to look like 3 years from now, 5 years from now.
Savvy bastard.
And well,
But you know what? You bring up a good point. That's the other thing too. It's not like everyone gets their Pi tokens on launch day available. You were given the option to lock up to be able to earn more per day in your mining. I happen to be one of the lucky ones. My staking, if you want to call it, my lockup period ended about 3 or 4 months ago. But there are many, many, many people that have locked up prior and re-locked up. So they're come launch day on February 20th, their Pi tokens are locked, so they can't touch them anyway. So that will also help the the not having so much of a sell-off on launch day, because a lot of the tokens are locked. Nobody had any clue that the migration to mainnet was going to happen now around this time. I'm sure a lot of people were thinking, this is going to be another 4 or 5, 6 months, a year. So they locked up their tokens again after they were unlocked on the previous lock cycle. So that's another thing that's going for us. And the other thing I was going to mention too is that how many cryptos can you name, minus Bitcoin, Ethereum, XRP, a few of the main ones, Dash, that have been around for 6 years? I know it hasn't been an actual crypto, it hasn't been launched live, but it has been around for 6 years. That's a long time in crypto. That is a long, long time in crypto. So kudos to
Especially
them
for not being
to
live.
continue to building. What's that, Cruiser?
Especially for not being live and tradable.
Yeah, they just kept building in the background, kept making improvements. They kept on, having their hackathons and stuff, as I had mentioned. So, that's good on them. So the fact that they are finally launching is bullish, and who knows, it could take off. I mean, they've done things differently. They have their own inner ecosystem within their blockchain, so it could be a huge success. Time will tell.
Yeah, and they also have post-launch plans, right? So.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I was going to say we have some time. I want to go around the horn. We haven't really heard much from Terry tonight either. Sorry, Terry, we've been talking over you and talking before you can get a word in. But I do want to go around the horn and kind of get everyone's thoughts. If they, anything on their mind, anything they want to talk about. We have 8 minutes or so to kill. So I'll start with Terry, actually.
Okay, well, I think I'll keep it pretty quick. Everybody's always thinking about the next big thing, and I've been considering that a lot lately. And I think that right now, memes in Bitcoin are absorbing just all of the attention. So I think that the next big thing is going to be something that is either outside of memes or really distinguishes itself from them, right? Just totally upends the meme market, because I think a lot of those are going to have to die off. There's just too many of them, and probably some of the old alts. I mean, a lot of the older alts, a lot of Dino coins are never going to make it back to the highs, unfortunately. Well, unfortunately for the people that are still holding on to them anyway. But a lot of them are just going to die as well, I'm afraid. So markets have been just really kind of low energy lately, and kind of choppy. So a lot of people don't want to trade, and I think that's probably a good idea, particularly if you're a swing trader. Really easy to get eaten up, chewed up in this type of market. But apathy is a better bottom signal than blood, right? So I think this is a really, really good opportunity to accumulate for the pop that we're expecting, the short-term pop that's probably going to occur over the next. Well, I'm probably within the next month or 6 weeks.
I completely agree, and I like your thesis on kind of get away from the meme coins. But that begs the question, for our viewers and for our listeners, do you have any clue as to possibly what that could be?
I kind of like the quantum computing compatible projects. I think that as that narrative sort of develops and begins to take hold, you'll see those type of projects begin to gain traction.
Very good. Yeah, and a lot of those quantum computing and compute power, so to speak, is needed in the AI space, AI industry, and of course that everyone knows that that's going to be huge, and it's constantly developing. So that totally makes sense.
Yeah, those are going to go very well together. The AI space, I think we are going to have some big winners there, but they're going to be the strong ones. There's going to be some winnowing there. There's just too much of them. There's not enough capital. There's not enough interest. You can only provide so much, and whoever provides the best service product wins.
The cream will rise to the top, so they say.
Absolutely.
Yeah, agree with you. Juan, yourself.
Well, I'm looking over the next couple of weeks on what future news might kind of spur interest. But to be honest with you guys, where everybody's just in a holding pattern before they decide what to do with their money. And we're not just talking about us, normal everyday people. We're talking about like even retail companies and big time investors, because again, they don't want to get caught with their pants down, and they need to have some type of direction. So until for now, I'm hoping that the Ethereum inflows kind of sparks the altcoin season. That's what I'm looking forward to. I hope Ethereum continues to pump, because like we talked about last week, where Ethereum has always kind of been that catalyst for altcoins. And when Ethereum starts pumping, altcoins start going and kind of, going with it. So Ethereum becomes kind of like that, like what Bitcoin is to everything else. So this is going to be an interesting few weeks while decisions are being made. Again, XRP, for all you XRP holders, all we're waiting for is the SEC just to make a decision. Once it's verbally decided, we're going to be good to go. You got I just think that when you see states, as Cruiser mentioned earlier, that want to get into Bitcoin and use it as their own reserve to help pay for whatever, I wonder again what that transparency is going to look like. Are they actually going to let it in on, are they going to help lower gas fuel prices, for example, right? By maybe they offset their taxes of gas. I know in Georgia, for example, that's what they used a lot of their surplus for, is to pay for the tax for gas, so that way consumers pay less gas daily. So that was pretty awesome, right? So I wanted to know if there's going to be stuff like that. Pi is exciting, a nice little revenue boost, a little confidence boost. Couldn't come at a better time, right? You got tax season. We have the payments going out from that debacle that happened prior. So and now we got Pi. So again, more money into the space, and it just depends on how we're going to use it. So those are things I'm looking forward to. And then gold, man, is it going to hit 3K? So those are the things that I'm excited about for the next couple of weeks, and I hope you guys are there for the ride.
It's actually going to be an exciting couple of days. We have the FTX repayments on the 18th, and then of course the Pi launch on the 20th. Cruiser, what about yourself?
Well, everybody's looking ahead. I'm going to look back for a minute. And just speaking to anybody who's new into the crypto space, I've had some questions recently. I get a lot of questions at work because there's a lot of new people in crypto in my industry. Stay away from leverage trading. I've been in it quite a while now, and I'm still learning things. And a couple of weeks ago, it wasn't all sunshine and roses. So I just want to put the message out there. If you're new, stay away from leverage trading. Use this dip this last week or so, 2 weeks, as a buy opportunity to spot buy. Stay away from any of the risky moves, because now is not the time to be doing anything like that. So that's my message to the masses today. And just one final thought. A couple weeks ago, I mentioned a video series that I'm going to be doing called Back to Basics. I should have the first video out within the next week, and then we'll go from there. You're muted, Crazy.
Crazy, you're muted.
Thank you, gentlemen. I just want to say thanks again for coming on. As usual, Terry, good to see you this week. Juan, Cruiser, glad you could join me again. Before we close up the show, I did want to bring up the DGen's weekly newsletter. Going strong. Every week they send out a newsletter with information, with different news stories, articles, et cetera, et cetera. I'm going to bring actually this up while we're here before I close it out. Here it is here. Free to join. All you do is sign up your email and subscribe, and you will get the weekly newsletter that they put out. I believe Tuesdays, Wednesdays. They come out Wednesdays, yeah. And this week was actually pretty interesting. It was a good read. I read it myself as well. So yeah, it's free to join. Just put in your email here. The website is on the screen right now. They would very much appreciate it. And especially if you're new in crypto, you'll get a lot of information and good knowledge from there. And while you're at it as well, the description, or in the description, will be the link for both this newsletter and their Discord, and as well the link to Bitunix. We don't recommend leverage trading, obviously, especially if you don't know what you're doing. So you got to make sure you mitigate your risk. But if you do want to leverage trade, consider using Bitunix. You can also do spot trading on there. They have hundreds and hundreds of different tokens that you may not get on other exchanges, and they do offer them. Link in the description for that as well. So once again, thanks everyone for joining. Thanks to the panel. Have yourselves a great week, and we will see you on Monday with our weekend report with Juan and I. So once again, thank you for joining us, and please hit like and subscribe to the channel on your way out. It's greatly appreciated. All right, guys, have a good evening.
Happy Valentine's Day.